What are the implications of that word when it's applied not to a tool or an appliance or a software program, not even to a set of ideas or a philosophy, but to a demographic of people, human beings designated solely by an accident of birth? What does it say about us as people that we're totally cool with that? Be it resolved. Men are obsolete. You might as well say, men, justify your existence. You know, I'm not going to bore everyone here with the mind-boggling array of statistics that prove that men are not, in fact, obsolete. Anyone can go look at the Census Bureau's labor statistics and observe that it is almost entirely men who keep the lights on, the water running, and the planes from falling out of the sky. Our comfortable, mostly smoothly operating, safe, orderly existence is built and maintained almost entirely by men. Suffice to say that if all men walked off the proverbial job at work and at home for 3 days, we would be 3 years cleaning up the mess. It takes a particular brand of narcissism to be able to sit in a climate-controlled office building or stand on a stage in front of a national audience and declare that a class of people who comprise over 90% of the individuals who build and maintain the whole shebang are candidates for the scrapyard because they're no longer good enough for us. And if men are obsolete, all I can say is it's an engineered obsolescence. Engineered by institutional social and legal policies that prioritize women's participation in school and at work, that prioritize their feelings and minimize any harm a woman might do, enabled by the very level of comfort, convenience, and safety provided mostly by men, which ensures most women will go through their entire lives never having to perform even once any of the types of tasks necessary to keep the food moving from farm to grocery store, or even to see that work as it's happening. Most of us are so divorced psychologically from the absolutely necessary labor of mostly men that make our lives livable. It's like we believe that box of cereal appeared on the store shelf just by magic. Women are net consumers of the product being our safe, comfortable, convenient, and plentiful society. Its manufacturers are nearly all men. Obsolete indeed.
The second principle that animates the left is group justice rather than individual justice. There's another name for group justice, that's social justice. Social justice, you should understand, is actually evil. Social justice, when people say it, it's an actual evil. Because anytime you put a modifier in front of a term that is inherently good, you turn it into a perversion of itself. So correctness, right? If you are correct, there's truth and there's something false, you are correct. Once you add political in front of that, you're not talking about truth and falsity anymore. You're talking about if you say the wrong thing, you get shot. Which is why, by the way, political correctness was a term that was coined by Mao. It was. Political correctness comes straight from the Maoist handbook. And the same thing is true of social justice. Justice is a good. You do something, it's either good or it's bad, and you get what you deserve. That's what justice is. Add social in front of that, and you're inherently saying injustice is better than justice. Because whether you are guilty or whether you are innocent is irrelevant. If you're a member of a group, then you must pay the price for something that you didn't do. Right? Social justice suggests that, I, as a supposedly white man, Jews became white people as soon as we became successful in America. I, as a white man, I'm responsible for paying slavery reparations, for example, in the name of social justice, even though all of my ancestors were busy getting killed by Cossacks in Russia at the time that slavery was taking place. And less than 5% of white Americans alive today have ancestors who ever held slaves. Every white person in America, though, has to pay because of group justice. How is that just? It's not. But it's group justice. It's social justice. And valuing the collective, valuing people in terms of groups rather than individuals, is how you get to the point where murder in the name of the collective is okay. All you have to do to see this is just compare the American Revolution, which was about individualism, with the French Revolution, which was about collectivism. Right? The American Revolution, John Adams wrote in the Declaration of Rights for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, he specifically wrote about all men being born free and equal with certain inalienable rights. It mirrors the Declaration of Independence in the United States. If you look at the Declaration of the Rights of Man in France during the French Revolution, it's the opposite. The 1789 Declaration of the Rights of Man says, "The principle of all sovereignty resides essentially in the nation. No body nor individual may exercise any authority which does not proceed directly from the nation." It says, "Law is the expression of the general will." So the collective always rules the individual. The group always rules the individual. And because the group always rules the individual, and because the group is always, this is a very utopian view of the world, because, see, the left doesn't believe in individual justice or that it can be achieved, but group justice can be achieved. But to pursue group justice is a utopian vision. You have to have this utopia in your head. Well, if the group is more important than the individual, and the individual is in the way of progress, just steamroll the individual. And that's why you end up with communism killing 100 million people. Because the bottom line is that if you are seeking equality of outcome on a group level, and somebody is an outlier, well, they're standing in front of the machine, and they have to go. Individuals are either tools of the regime or they are obstacles to the regime.
It's an interesting point you bring up, though, about talking to young people, because in the 70s, you worked colleges like crazy. You work colleges now, and there's a long list of things that you're not supposed to talk about.
Really?
On the top of the list is drugs.
Really?
Yes.
I do tons of colleges, and they'll give you a list of they're like, don't talk about drugs, don't talk about sex, don't talk about religion. Don't
So what do you
talk
do?
about...
Go home? You
and
pack
I'm
up
like,
and leave?
I have fucking nothing, and so I'm Billy the Mime on stage. I don't know what to say.
When I was coming up, which was late 70s, college crowds were the hipster crowd. Those were the crowds where you could say anything. They wanted you to be subversive, controversial. But it seems like when I play college audiences now, it seems like they have already bought into this system. They're already like cogs in the machine.
Where are all the professors at the universities getting their money for research? The corporations.
Oh, right.
The corporations are paying all the professors.
That's right.
The professors aren't going to bite the hands that feed them, so they're just keeping the students down.
My theory is that when you go to a mall at the age of 11 and 12 for entertainment, you've already, you're indoctrinated
Yeah,
already.
college is like the mall now. I got banned from NYU, just so you know, I do colleges. Yeah, I imitated a clitoris. I wasn't even trying. I was like, this is nothing. And there was a debate between like the lesbian jocks. There was a whole contingency. And they're like, that's wrong, yo, that's wrong. Like that. In their Abercrombie sweaters, I was like, God, you guys are young. You're fucking 18, 19 years old, and you're offended. You're 19. You're looking for the clit.
She started in England one time. We did an all-girls school, and we were about 2 seconds into our act, and they got up and filed out like a fire drill. And I was going to say, hey, wait, you're going to miss a part where I fuck him in the ass.
And you've seen ridiculous things, though, like the social justice warriors, these really weird white people that are trying so hard to get black people to love them that they just go out of their way to just be outrageously progressive to the point where they're actually prejudiced against other white people. They go so far left they become right. I've seen some ridiculous shit where I saw this one guy who was quoting about Osama bin Laden saying that I will never celebrate someone's death. Even if they were a horrible person, and then the same guy quoted about Christopher Hitchens, good riddance. He was a misogynist and a warmonger. Like, okay, fuckhead, like, you can't have it both ways. But what he is the uber version of the social justice warrior, the unfuckable white dude trying so hard to get women and black people to love him because he just is completely insubstantial in any real form in our
Girl, you look mighty fine. Won't you rub your fingers